One simple object can tell a very complex story. The objects in our collection at the National Museum of American Diplomacy tell the untold stories of America's relationships with other countries. They bring to life key historical moments and diplomatic decisions students learn about in textbooks. Through the items in our collection, your students can explore personal, real-world experiences of U.S. diplomats. Diplomats who use the tools and skills of diplomacy to solve challenges and find common ground with others. Our collection is unique and touches upon a wide variety of topics that secondary school teachers are already teaching, from history to science to effective communication and collaboration skills. We invite you to explore how our museum's collection can enrich your students' learning experience.
Welcome to the museum's climate-controlled collection storage vault. This is where our objects are studied and preserved. We collect objects that tell the stories of the people, places, and practice of diplomacy. Objects that are from big moments in the founding of the United States to the everyday work of diplomats of all kinds. The museum's objects help tell the story of how American diplomats have worked and continue to work today around the world. Diplomacy is many things, and many things can tell the story of diplomacy. From treaties that forged historic alliances or eliminated dangerous weapons, to the tools used to bring clean water to millions, or relief to disaster victims, and many others, all of which are evidence of our diplomats' work to protect our nation and promote democracy and prosperity. Let's take a look at one of the objects in our museum's collection and see what it can help us discover. So at first glance, this object here in front of me doesn't really appear to be very interesting. It's an old piece of yellow-looking cloth. You can see a pattern along the edges, and you might think, oh, this is an old napkin, maybe it's a handkerchief. But if you start looking at it more closely, you'll observe certain things about it. For one, it's actually quite dirty and even grimy in places, and the staining actually looks like it may have been wet at some point. It was in fact wet, and it was from a person's sweat and tears. This object has a very powerful story to tell because it was used as a blindfold on a man named Robert Blucher, who was one of the 52 American diplomats and other embassy employees who were taken hostage in Iran in 1979. And so once you know this, it really prompts you to reflect, not only on that person and on their experiences, but on the impacts that that had on history, on diplomacy. And once you have all of this and laid it out for your students, they will really have all sorts of questions for you. You know, what was the Iran hostage crisis? Why does it matter? Does it still matter today? And what are its impacts? And so I think that objects like this, and really any object, can really help to bring history to life for students.
And this is just one example. Objects have the power to provide a tangible connection to individuals and events in the past, and to make them memorable. They invoke questions and provoke discussion. Using our collection and accompanying online educational resources, you can inspire your students to discover how diplomacy shapes our world. You can encourage them to imagine how they might shape the future.